1 Chronicles chapter 11. David anointed king of all Israel. Then all Israel gathered together to David at Hebron and said, Behold, we are your bone and flesh. In times past, even when Saul was king, it was you that led out and brought in Israel. And the Lord your God said to you, You shall be shepherd of my people Israel, and you shall be prince over my people Israel. So all the elders of Israel came to the king at Hebron, and David made a covenant with him at Hebron before the Lord. And they anointed David king over Israel, according to the word of the Lord by Samuel. Jerusalem captured. And David and all Israel went to Jerusalem, that is, Jebus, where the Jebusites were, the inhabitants of the land. The inhabitants of Jebus said to David, You will not come in here. Nevertheless, David took the stronghold of Zion, that is, the city of David. David said, Whoever shall smite the Jebusites first shall be chief and commander. And Joab, the son of Zeruiah, went up first. So he became chief. And David dwelt in the stronghold. Therefore it was called the city of David. And he built the city round about from the Millo in complete circuit. And Joab repaired the rest of the city. And David became greater and greater, for the Lord of hosts was with him. David's mighty men and their exploits. Now, these are the chiefs of David's mighty men, who gave him strong support in his kingdom, together with all Israel, to make him king, according to the word of the Lord concerning Israel. Is an account of David's mighty men. Jashobeam, a Hashmonite, was chief of the three. He wielded his spear against 300, whom he slew at one time. And next to him among the three mighty men was Eleazar, the son of Dodo the Ahohite. He was with David at Pasdammim when the Philistines were gathered there for battle. There was a plot of ground full of barley, and the men fled from the Philistines. But he took his stand in the midst of the plot and defended it, and slew the Philistines, and the Lord saved him by a great victory. 3 of the 30 chief men went down to the rock to David at the cave of Adullam, when the army of Philistines was encamped in the valley of Rephaim. David was then in the stronghold, and the garrison of the Philistines was then at Bethlehem. And David said longingly, Oh, that someone would give me water to drink from the well of Bethlehem, which is by the gate. Then the 3 mighty men broke through the camp of Philistines and drew water out of the well of Bethlehem, which was by the gate, and took and brought it to David. But David would not drink of it. He poured it out to the Lord and said, Far be it from me before my God, that I should do this. Shall I drink the lifeblood of these men? For at the risk of their lives, they brought it. Therefore, he would not drink it. These things did the three mighty men. Now, Abishai, the brother of Joab, was chief of the 30, and he wielded his spear against 300 men, and slew them, and won a name beside the three. He was the most renowned of the 30, and became their commander. But he did not attain to the three. And Benai, the son of Jehoiada, was a valiant man of Kabzeel, a doer of good deeds. He was the most renowned of the 30, and became their commander. But he did not attain to the three. And Benai, the son of Jehoiada, was a valiant man of Kabzeel, a doer of good deeds. He smote 2 Ariels of Moab. He also went down and slew a lion in a pit on a day when snow had fallen. And when he slew an Egyptian, a man of great stature, 5 cubits tall, the Egyptian had in his hand a spear like a weaver's beam. But Benai went down to him with a staff, and snatched the spear out of the Egyptian's hand, and slew him with his own spear. These things did Benai the son of Jehoiada, and won a name beside the three mighty men. He was renowned among the 30, and he did not attain to the three. And David set him over his bodyguard. The mighty men of the armies were Ashel, the brother of Joab, Elhanan, the son of Dodo of Bethlehem, Shemoth of Harod, Heliz, the Pelonite, Ira, the son of Ikesh of Tekoa, Abizar of Anathoth, Sibbecai the Kishathite, Eli the Ahohite, Maharai of Netophah, Hilid the son of Bana of Netophah, Ithai the son of Ribai of Gibeah of the Benjaminites, Benai of Pirathon, Hurai of the brooks of Gash, Ibil the Arbatite, Azmawath of Baharum, Elihaba of Shalbon, Hashim the Gizonite, Jonathan the son of Shaggai the Harahite, Ahim the son of Sakar the Harahite, Eliphal the son of Ur, Hefer the Mecherathite, Ahajai the Palonite, Hezro of Carmel, Narai the son of Isbai, Joel the brother of Nathan, Mibar the son of Hagri, Zelek the Ammonite, Naharai of Beeroth, the armor-bearer of Moab, the son of Jeruzai, Ira the Ithrite, Garib the Ithrite, Uriah the Hittite, Zabad the son of Ahlai, Adina the son of Shiza, the Reubenite, a leader of the Reubenites, and 30 with him, Hanan the son of Makkah, and Joshaphat the Mithnite, the Uzziah the Ishrathite, Shammah and Gilel, the son of Hotham and Arorite, Jediel, the son of Shimri, and Joha, his brother, the Tizite, Eliel, the Mahawite, and Jerubai, and Jeshawiah, the son of Elnam, and Itmah, the Moabite, Eliel and Obed, and Jeziel, the Mesobite. 1 Chronicles chapter 12, David's followers in the wilderness. Now these are the men who came to David at Ziklag, while he could not move about freely because of Saul the son of Kish, and they were among the mighty men who helped him in war. They were bowmen and could shoot arrows and sling stones with either the right or the left hand. They were Benjaminites, Saul's kinsmen. The chief was Ahiezer, then Joash, both sons of Shema of Gibeah, also Jeziel and Pilet, the sons of Azmaveth, Berekah, Jehu of Anathoth, Ishmael of Gibeon, a mighty man among the 30 and a leader over the 30, Jeremiah, Jahaziel, Johanan, Jozabad of Gedera, Eluzai, Jerimoth, Behelah, Shemariah, Shephatiah, the Haraphite, Elkanah, Isaiah, Ezrael, Joezer, and Jahobim, the Korharites, and Jola, and Zebadiah, the sons of Jeroham of Gedor. From the Gadites there went over to David at the stronghold in the wilderness mighty and experienced warriors, expert with shield and spear, whose faces were like the faces of lions, and who were swift as gazelles upon the mountains. Ezer the chief, Obadiah second, Eliab third, Mishpenah fourth, Jeremiah fifth, Attai sixth, Elilel seventh, Johanan eighth, Elzabad ninth, Jeremiah 10th, Machbenai 11th. These Gadites were officers of the army, the lesser over 100 and the greater over 1,000. These are the men who crossed the Jordan in the first month, when it was overflowing all its banks, and put to flight all those in the valleys to the east and to the west. And some of the men of Benjamin and Judah came to the stronghold to David. David went out to meet them and said to them, "If you have come to me in friendship to help me, my heart will be knit to you. But if to betray me to my adversaries, although there is no wrong in my hands, then may the Lord God of our fathers seek and rebuke you." Then the Spirit came upon Amasai, chief of the 30, and he said, "We are yours, O David, and with you, O son of Jesse. Peace, peace to you, and peace to your helpers, for your God helps you." Then David received them and made them officers of his troops. Some of the men of Manasseh deserted to David when he came with the Philistines for the battle against Saul. Yet he did not help them, for the rulers of the Philistines took counsel and sent them away, saying, "At peril to your heads, he will desert to his master Saul." As he went to Ziklag, these men of Manasseh deserted to him: Adna, Jozabad, Jediel, Michael, Jozabad, Elihu, and Zilelthai, chiefs of thousands in Manasseh. They helped David among the band of raiders, and they were all mighty men of valor and were commanders in the army. For from day to day, men kept coming to David to help him, until there was a great army, like an army of God. David's army at Hebron. These are the numbers of the divisions of the armed troops who came to David in Hebron to turn the kingdom of Saul over to him, according to the word of the Lord. The men of Judah bearing shield and spear were 6,800 armed troops. Of the Simeonites, mighty men of valor for war, 7,100. Of the Levites, 4,600. The prince Jehoiada of the house of Aaron, and with him 3,700. Zadok, a young man mighty in valor, and 22 commanders from his own father's house. Of the Benjaminites, the kinsmen of Saul, 3,000 of whom the majority had hitherto kept their allegiance to the house of Saul. Of the Ephraimites, 22,800 mighty men of valor, famous men in their fathers' houses. Of the half-tribe of Manasseh, 18,000, who were expressly named to come and make David king. Of Issachar, men who had understanding of the times, to know that Israel ought to do, 200 chiefs, and all their kinsmen under their command. Of Zebulun, 50,000 seasoned troops, equipped for battle, with all the weapons of war to help David, with singleness of purpose. Of Naphtali, 1,000 commanders, with whom were 37,000 men armed with shield and spear. Of the Danites, 28,600 men equipped for battle. Of Asher, 40,000 seasoned troops ready for battle. Of the Reubenites and Gadites and the half-tribe of Manasseh, from beyond the Jordan, 120,000 men armed with all the weapons of war. All these men of war, arrayed in battle order, came to Hebron with full intent to make David king over all Israel. Likewise, all the rest of Israel were of a single mind to make David king. And they were there with David for 3 days, eating and drinking, for their brethren had made preparation for them. And also their neighbors from as far as Issachar and Zebulun and Naphtali came bringing food and asses, on camels and on mules and on oxen, abundant provisions of meal, cakes of figs, clusters of raisins and wine and oil, oxen and sheep, for there was joy in Israel. 1 Chronicles 13. The ark brought from Kiryat Jiharim. David consulted with the commanders of thousands and hundreds, with every leader. And David said to all the assembly of Israel, "If it seems good to you, and if it is the will of the Lord our God, let us send abroad to our brethren who remain in all the land of Israel, and with them to the priests and Levites in the cities that have pasture lands, that they may come together to us. Then let us bring again the ark of our God to us, for we neglected it in the days of Saul. All the assembly agreed to do so, for the thing was right in the eyes of all the people. So David assembled all Israel from the Shihoar of Egypt to the entrance of Hamath to bring the ark of God from Kiryat Jiharim. And David and all Israel went up to Bala, that is, to Kiryat Jiharim, which belongs to Judah, to bring up from the ark of God, which is called by the name of the Lord, who sits enthroned above the cherubim. And they carried the ark of God upon a new cart from the house of Abinadab and Uzzah and Ahio, where the driving the cart. And David and all Israel were making merry before God with all their might, with song and lyres and harps and tambourines and cymbals and trumpets. And when they came to the threshing floor of Shiron, Uzzah put out his hand to hold the ark, for the oxen stumbled. And the anger of the Lord was kindled against Uzzah, and he smote him, because he put forth his hand to the ark, and he died there before God. And David was angry because the Lord had broken forth upon Uzzah. And that place is called Perez Uzzah to this day. And David was afraid of God that day. And he said, "How can I bring the ark of God home to me?" So David did not take the ark home into the city of David, but took it aside to the house of Obed-Edom the Gittite. And the ark of God remained with the household of Obed-Edom in his house 3 months. And the Lord blessed the household of the Obed-Edom and all that he had.